Hey,
Yep.
welcome to the Shower Door Professionals live stream. It's Wednesday night. That means we're all here, huddled around the computer screen. See if we can come up with some ideas, things to talk about. Um, yeah, as you know, we meet here every week to discuss business, shower door business, uh, all kinds of things like education, safety, design, everything that has to do with the shower door industry. And we bring it straight to you, right to your living room, wherever you happen to be. Um, hey, take a minute to like this video, maybe even subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. This is our 191st episode, episode
Wow.
191. Yeah,
191.
so if you're just joining us and this is your first time, you got some catching up to do. So you can find all of those past episodes on YouTube. You can find them on Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast. Go ahead and
Right.
subscribe to that, and we'll keep you in the loop.
Okay.
Yeah. So I see there's Christina. What's going on, Christina? Do you have anything to report this week?
I sure do. I mean, nothing crazy and major. There's a lot going on, but just a quick recap. My name is Christina, and I'm on the board of the co-op, the Shower Door Professionals Co-op, along with Chris, Lana, Shannon, and Rob Gomez. We have kind of all come together to create a cooperative to help with these things like education and safety training. Um, just relationships and discussing, how to elevate the industry altogether, marketing and all of that good stuff. So we have a lot of vendor interest in just, coming on to get feedback and sharing new product information and things like that. So more to come on that. We have um, a probable event happening in late April that Brandon Nicastro is heading up. So that'll be very fun and cool. And that's going to be for anybody who wants to come. There will be limited capacity. So definitely when that comes out, jump on it. And gosh, Chris, what else? Oh, if you want to join the co-op or need more information, please email us at info@showerdoorprofessionals.com, or you can reach out to Chris, Lana, Shannon, myself, or Rob Gomez. And if you're ready to just jump in and join, go ahead and fill out the form on the showerdoorprofessionals.com/members page to become a member, apply to become a member. Lana is heading up the membership committee along with Mike Merlina. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mark and
And
Brian.
and Brian. And Brian
Mhm.
is also going to help with the content, like photos and blog posts. He's heading up the committee for that. And then Morgan Miller is helping Brandon Nicastro with the event planning as well. So thank you to everyone who is helping out, and it takes a village and it takes a team. So we are all just going to elevate this industry together. If you want to jump in, please fill out that form and or reach out. So that's it.
Yes. Yeah.
Exciting stuff. Thank you, Christina. You're so modest. Christina is actually the president of the board. It's not just some board member at large.
Yes.
So, and I have to, give a shout out to her and Brad, her dad, who really have been the impetus behind making this happen. I mean, this is something we talked about. It's come up in conversations over the years as we've been doing this, but these two really had kind of a vision for making this happen. And if it really wasn't for them, I don't. There's no way we would have come this far in this short amount of time. So thanks, you guys, for being so willing to be involved and to volunteer. And yeah, I'm really excited about how far we've come already. And sky's the limit. I mean, I believe I believe. Cool. So that's great.
Yes.
Hey, am I forgetting to announce anything? I don't think so. I think we're all here. Thanks for showing up a little bit early. It's like it's hard to kind of screen people after the call starts. So I appreciate y'all showing up, and being prompt, because that's what responsible people do. Well, I'm just kind of thinking about what we might talk about tonight. Does anybody have a topic that's near and dear to their heart? Maybe a question or an issue that you're facing that you want to bring up?
Not a fan.
Can always just single you out if I feel like it. Or we can have Tim tell us about his vacation.
Oh.
I got a question. I'm dealing with an issue that happened today with a raked panel. It's got a raked left corner, and I went back today and checked it. The guys went to install it yesterday, and I got the phone call. The phone call. And I'm like, oh God, what is this? And they're like, dude, it's not going in. They sent me pictures of it, and at that raked corner, I was like, the glass was like a 1/4 inch or 5/16 too tall. It was hitting the sloped wall and wasn't getting all the way over to the left wall. And I was like, man, there's nothing that we can do to get that in. Like, I'm gonna have to order a new panel, which was a bummer. But that wasn't what really upset me. It was I still can't quite figure it out. I don't understand what went wrong and like where the discrepancy in the measurements are. I went back there today. I left my original measure sheet in the van because I don't want it to affect, me remeasuring, right? So I went with a blank piece of paper and I checked it all, took it back to the van, came up with the exact same numbers. Punched it into the program, did the deductions, everything looked good, and then checked the cut sheet, and the cut sheet was the same exact cut sheet that I sent in, and like, I know that it's not fitting. And I'm confused. I'm so confused as to why. I gave an 1/8 inch on the wall, left-hand wall. I gave an 1/8 inch on the raked edge. And I gave myself a little bit extra. I think I gave myself a 1/4 inch on the bottom just to have a little bit of play. And it was weird because my overall size on the left wall was 67 3/4. And with all my deductions, the glass comes out to like 67 and I think it showed 11/16 on the first one. I pulled another 16th off just for good measure, but it still didn't go in. So any tips or tricks on how you guys measure these, or have you run into a situation like this where you can say, dude, this is probably what happened? Because I'm totally stumped on why. Right? Because I need to know the why to prevent future issues.
If they cut the glass properly to begin with.
Yeah, that was my question.
Checked it, and it appears, all measurements are on point.
Okay.
To what I ordered. So that's out.
Was it the height that was the issue or the width?
It was the height.
Okay. And when you measure angles, do you use an angle finder? Do you use how do you measure angles? What measurements do you take?
I don't always use an angle finder. I have in the past. On this particular one, I did not. I pulled a tight vertical measurement at the left-hand wall. Then I brought my laser in to the right and shot a plumb line up and made a mark at the overall height of 72. And then I pulled
Mhm.
that width off the wall. I showed a 1/4 inch out on that width at a 72-inch height, and then kind of pulled that dimension from that point of contact at the ceiling to the right-hand wall. I pulled my overall measurement there. And then what I had done is, after I did it that way, I went from the other side, and they wanted a 30-inch door for this particular shower. So I gave myself 30 3/8, shot my laser up there, and then pulled all new measurements from the left-hand wall over to double check everything. And everything seemed to, I mean, mathematically, it worked out.
Is there an outage on the curb?
There was no outage on the curb. No, it was one of those rare ones that was perfectly level.
Was there an outage on the on the wall that
There
was
wasn't.
from the
There
curb
was
up to the angle?
there. The left-hand wall has an outage. I had a 1/4 inch outage. It had a little hump in the wall where 2 tiles met. It was like a 16th inch hump. But the overall outage, I clocked it in at 1/4 inch.
Is the
Outages and angles are like, they're terrible. They mess
Yeah.
everything up because you did all the right stuff and you got all your right measurements, and then you start throwing angles into that mix, and like the geometry just goes wonky.
It
It's
just
crazy.
goes haywire, right?
Yeah.
well, and is the angle tiled?
No, it was the slope
Sheet
ceiling
rock?
was just sheet. It was just sheetrock.
Sheet
Yeah,
rock?
yeah.
I hate those.
Hey, Brian, you know, I've struggled for years with those angles and everything that you said that you described you do, I've done. I've bought angle finders. We've resorted to making templates. I know it's a bigger pain in the rear end, but because the math mystifies me at times. I'll measure it. I'll have a lead go down and, maybe join me and say, see what you get. But the only thing, we've done several of them here lately, and knock on wood, they fit. But the reason they fit is because we made a template. It lengthens the process, there's always we make a backup template because vendors tend to lose originals.
Don't use your
Mm.
It's
template.
just more, and I explain to customers that it's more of a cumbersome process than just say a door and panel or a door, for instance. But it saves you a hell of a lot of glass and remakes.
Mm-hmm.
Brian,
Yeah, for sure.
What do you use for software? Do you use Smart Glazer?
FHC's design program.
Do they? I've never used it, but so what like data does it allow you to input?
It allows for a raked edge. It allows the width of the clipped corner and the height difference. I guess
Right.
if that answers your
Just like
question, it doesn't
Showers
allow.
online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't allow a degree. Like I can't enter, a degree of an angle.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what we do with I use Smart Glazer, and I think that's kind of what Christina was getting at. So I actually, when I send my guys on a job to measure one of those angles, I schedule somebody to be in the office, literally at the computer, typing in the measurements that they're coming up with. And then there's like there's 3 dimensions that you need, but you type in 2, and then with Smart Glazer, you can kind of switch it around. You can either put in the angle and the height difference, or the angle and the length of the span, or that hypotenuse angle. And then it'll figure out the third one. So what we do is we put in 2 points that we come up with, and then we switch it, and we let the computer tell us what that third point is. And then I have the guy on site double check that with everything else. So we're checking the angle versus the length of, what that cut is going to be versus everything. And we just we dance around the issue, and then till we come close, till like we're within like an 1/8 or like a 16th, when it's never going to be perfect, but we if we're in an 1/8, I'm pretty comfortable. And doing it that way has been the only way, and it's still not 100%, but that's been the only way that we've been able to minimize exactly what you're talking about. Because
That is,
those
Huh.
images are
Okay.
just crazy.
that is
Okay.
you.
But
So-
it's a cumbersome process because I need to have somebody sitting at the computer without distractions, and I have to have that estimator on site
Mhm.
on the phone with that guy. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Now in Smart Laser, can you enter the degree
Yeah.
of an angle? You can.
Yeah. So if it's like a 135 degree, you'd minus 90 off it. So you'd put in 45, whatever it is. So you put
Right.
that 45 in. So like if it's a 72, so say overall height is 72 and the height of the left wall is whatever, call it 60, right? So you have a 12-inch kind of piece missing.
Mm-hmm.
So you would type in 12 inches and then 135, then you put in like 45. And then it would tell you the length from the point that exactly you pulled, that you measured up 72. It would tell you the point of the corner up to that 72, and you can kind of double check that. And if it's close, then you should be good. And if it's not, you're like, something's wrong, and you keep kind of screwing around and you try to find the outage or, wherever, whatever, there's something, whatever's wrong. If it's an inch off, you're like, something's wrong. And you just keep kind of working at it until we figure it out. But it's a pain in the ass. There's no other way
Yeah.
around it.
And it's crazy too, because it's one of those things where, right, I've measured them this way before and they've fit like beautiful,
A
right? I
glove.
mean, you couldn't ask for cleaner lines, more even gaps. I mean, it was like, wow, I couldn't even believe it fit so well. And then there was this one, and of course it's like, this order was originally placed with like 2 other showers with kind of the same situation. So now I'm like sweating like, oh shit, man. Am I gonna be facing this again in another week or 2?
I don't think so. I mean,
Probably
it's
not.
just one of those things. Like I said, you can do 10, 9 will come out good. And that one will be like, what happened? What happened? But I know somebody asked you to make sure that your vendor cut it to what you specified, which you already did that. So I don't think there's a way to completely eliminate the problem other than doing the template, the whole template thing.
Right. All right.
Yeah, and I think a key to it too, like what Michael's talking about, is checking the length of the rake itself. And even without using software per se, I mean, you can kind of double check your math by measuring across that rake and seeing if it's coming out the size that it's supposed to be, and then
Right.
and just kind of triangulating that way.
How
Now,
long is that rake, Brian, in this particular one?
he probably doesn't even know.
Well, like
yeah.
ballpark, it's 12 inches, like 19.
Maybe 10 and a half, 11,
Yeah.
give or take.
Because the longer that gets, you know what I mean? Like if that thing's like 40 inches long and you're off 1/8 of an inch on one side, by the time you get to the other end, you're off a foot. You know what I mean? So
Right.
like if you're off
Yeah.
1 degree, so like on a 10 to 12 inches, you have a better chance of it fitting, or at least kind of being able to fudge it in when that, you know what I mean? There's more kind of fudge room when it's a shorter span.
Right. Sure.
But
Another thing that's really messed us up in the past is if you don't put like a short stick level on the rake, if it's tiled or even if it's sheetrock, if you have an angle finder or anything, and you're just going off of the angle finder, you won't necessarily understand that there's like a bump or a kick tile or something uneven there. So we've rocked a stick level on a rake, and that was the problem once. So there's
Okay. Yeah.
that are too. But happy to take a look at it if you want me to try to plug something into Smart Laser.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I've got
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I've gotten to the point to where I just do like make templates of those. Like if I see that there's going to be that situation, I'll bring, just like a sheet of corrugated plastic with me, and then I'll measure it out mathematically the way that Showers Online tells you to. And that's basically like you're saying, you lay it out as a rectangle, and then you measure how far from the corner down, far from the corner over to get that rake. And it doesn't give you the angle or even the length of the rake. It just gives you the length of the cutout, the corner you're cutting on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll take all that and then I'll lay it out on my cardboard or coroplast, whatever I got, and cut it myself. And usually I can do that on site, so I don't have to make 2 trips. And then stick my template in there and see if it works.
That's a good idea.
And then if my template works, I know I don't have to send the template in. I can just send my math in. And if they cut it the way that, the cut sheet tells them to, it'll be the same as my template. But I can check it with my template when it comes in, you know what I mean? Without having to take the extra time it takes to send in a pattern.
Yeah. And my first couple, I did that. I brought some wood with me, made a pattern, set it in there, checked it, and actually temped the pattern up and then pulled measurements for my door.
Yeah.
And those started, those fit great. And then a couple others I tried and I did just on measurements, and those fit good. So I was like, I don't really need, like I'm good, dude. I don't need to spend the extra time making a temp. Save the trees, bro.
Yeah. So do you use door skins to make templates? Yeah, those are cool. I do that too.
1/4 inch Luan or whatever.
Yeah.
Something with a little rigidity. Yeah, something.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, man, no sweat. It's all good. Me and my fat Max, we're all over this thing. And then this happened and I was like, oh no. But yeah, I couldn't figure out. And even after going back and sitting down and taking a look at it, I couldn't figure out like why or where it, went wrong, where things really went awry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So live and learn.
Right. Yeah, because the thing is, like, sending in templates to your supplier, depending on who your supplier is or whatever, it's like that's a whole nother can of worms. It's like, are they going, how are they going to? In the old days, when I was a kid, they'd actually cut it from the template, right? You had a guy who was like super skilled,
Right.
There's a guy who's on the cut table. That's all he did all day.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he'd lay it on there and like whatever, man, trace it out with a Sharpie or whatever, and use a straight edge to cut the straight sides and like freehand it, for the radiuses or whatever. And man, that guy could do it. He could cut, he could make it perfect, match your pattern perfectly. And now they're like digitizing it somehow, and I'm not sure how that even works. Well, I know that it doesn't work very well, but so there's that, and that can suck too.
Well, Old Castle is charging us a fortune for digitizing a pattern.
Yeah. And that's the other thing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, we can't really mark that up very well.
How much?
We can, but then it just puts us way out of the ballpark.
Like, do most of your suppliers for you guys accept patterns? Like, only one of my suppliers will accept patterns. The other 2 stopped. They stopped taking them. I think they had too many problems with it, so they said no more. And those are the 2 suppliers that I get most of my shower doors from. The other one is really I kind of use just for mirrors. I don't really get many showers off them, but I guess I'll have to start using them. But do a lot of your suppliers accept patterns?
They do. They have guidelines of what you can send in.
Yeah.
And they charge accordingly.
No
Right,
paper
sure.
patterns.
I mean, how can you be a fabricator and like not take a pattern? Can you do that? I guess you can.
They're doing it.
And then they charge you for pattern cuts, which is ridiculous. So if I can figure it out from the pattern, I'll just do a drawing of it and send it in and save money.
What's crazy, and Chris already knows this, but my dad sent in a trapezoid pattern. No, it wasn't a pattern, actually. We digitized it ourselves because we can through Smart Glazer, and we sent a DXF for a trapezoid. And they sent the glass to us multiple times, the same exact error every single time. It's an inch too wide and an inch too tall. And what is this, the third or fourth try, Dad?
Yeah, it's a parallelogram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not trapezoid, it's parallelogram,
Oh,
Yes.
which is pretty simple, actually, and I can't believe they got it wrong like 4 times. And Christina, I don't know. I mean, it's just, I think they got a software miscommunication from one stage to another.
Well, anyway, they came back and said, we're just going to refund you, and we can't figure it out. Sorry.
Wow.
What's to figure out? You sent him a DFX
That's
file, right?
beautiful.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
So the robot
Wow.
can't figure it out somehow.
I think
I'll come over and cut it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
That's
Well, in all
crazy.
fairness, now one of the managers that we used to deal with all the time stepped in, and he was going to take care of it. But we, in the meantime, got a commitment from another source, and they're turning it real quick. So, yep, it's a simple little stair job,
Yeah.
just so.
Wow. There you go.
Oh,
So
we, I will tell you one thing. We just did switch glass.
oh yeah, how was that?
It worked, man. It was very, very stressful. Very stressful.
Expensive.
It was a lot. $24,000 order.
Nice.
So, yeah.
And everything went well?
Yeah, pretty much. The only thing I'm challenged with, which I don't think is a big deal, is it's an operable door too. So you have to have a wire going around the hinge, kind of
Right.
at the top as it's exposed. So it's the casing on there that I created is okay looking, but not real professional. So I got kind of a plan to fix that up. But I was able to sneak a wire through the hinge pin on the bottom, and then it goes down into the basement. And that's where the controller is. And it's a controller that can plug into like a Lutron deal and can be programmed and all that kind of stuff to do whatever.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Cool. Do you feel like you charged
I
enough
was
money
sweating
for it?
though, man, because you want it to fit, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So
it came from M3.
M3. Okay.
Yep. And it was very expensive. And they did have a couple bows in it. The customer has not complained about that. I don't think they will. Had a skinny panel that had a bow in it. Pretty bad. But,
So Brad, what kind of warranty do you provide with something so special like that? What?
well, that they warranty it for 1 year. So and the customer is aware of that. So I don't know, but they've assured us that this product they've had in use for years without any problem.
Okay.
So where, they keep it electrified for long periods of time without any issues. So
with you doing the special wiring like you were talking about, does anything goes wrong with that falls back on you? That's not on M3.
well, probably. I don't know.
I'm just wondering because
I don't
you've
know.
made it so special, custom, right?
Yeah. But it's crazy because those are delicate little wires, and you got to get it in your U channel, a lift and drop method, and you got to have somebody like snaking that in there. And,
Yeah.
one panel was pretty big, so it was very heavy, and we just had to be careful with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand that. Well, that's cool. So you'll be our expert when we want to do that.
I don't know.
After one more.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least you can
Yeah.
tell us what not to do, right? You've got all that figured
Right,
out.
right. Yeah. So, but we did that. You have to do a full rail instead of like patch hinge,
Mhm.
because
Okay,
you got
right.
that bus bar at the bottom. It has to be all the way across, and so they can't notch. And so I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what that hardware is going to look like, and how I was going to do my wires and all that. And it just took a lot of extra time.
Yeah, okay. Well, y'all have got to post some pictures so we can see.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess we have to, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got our curiosity up for sure.
Yeah. Well, I got a short little video, and it's now they have a vanity in front of it, and I'll be going back and getting another shot of it too. But yeah, we'll post something.
Sure. Look forward to it.
Do those things have a battery backup?
No.
So the power goes out and
Well, actually, Tim, it's without power, it's obscure.
it's not
Right.
secure.
Yeah, so when you
Mhm.
power it on, it turns
Okay.
clear.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, but that would be kind of funny,
Yeah.
That's like putting in one-way mirror,
Yeah.
Right.
People think it's, you can put it in your outside window and nobody can see in, but you
Mhm.
can't.
And that's true as long as the lights are off.
And the lights are on, you can see in.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
it's true.
So the kind of the static state of the glass is with the power on, right? Because you only want it obscured intermittent.
Right.
That's interesting.
Mhm.
So yeah, and it's what's called a Gauzy controller, Gauzzy, and they make a lot of controllers for this kind of deal. It's Lutron compatible and compatible with some other ones, and that's where they can do, timers and motion sensors, all kinds of stuff on it, or
Probably
tie it in, I guess.
iPhone app or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mhm.
So you can surprise
So.
people. Cool.
Yeah. It's crazy though, because it's a lot of money for a toilet. That's what this was. Instead of a shower, it was a toilet.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
Hey,
yeah,
fancy toilets these days.
yes, they
A lot of-
are.
yeah, you go in there, man. They salute you.
Mhm.
yeah,
Start
right.
I have
running,
a friend
making
that has
sound.
one.
Spray some perfume in the air and play you a little tune or whatever.
Yeah, it's heated, lights
Heated.
up. Yeah,
Remote controls, yeah.
Yeah, you name it.
yeah.
And
Seat
that's just the
raised up,
beginning.
yeah, automatically.
Hey, I guess you could make it like Bluetooth compatible and keep track of all your
All of your bowel
Business.
movements.
or whatever. Keeps track of
TMI.
everything.
Maybe like weigh them out for
So
you.
You could
Or just
yeah, there
send a
you go.
sample to your doctor or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Hard.
You get a log.
Have you seen
I
the
mean,
one that-
like a logbook.
Yeah, logbook. Oh man.
They
This is
make that
good.
for kitty litter boxes, by the way. Like they
Yeah.
have this. It's crazy.
Really?
They'll tell you if your cat is sick.
Oh, I have heard that. I
Mhm.
have, especially cats that have urine infections or bladder infections or whatever all the time. Yeah, somebody created it for that.
Is that the litter robot?
I
Yeah,
suppose it's called like that. I don't know what it's called.
Okay.
Have you seen the switchable glass that has the blinds in it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That,
And they've got it. I mean, you can get
I mean,
like
when
images and stuff, like birds and stuff, I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
So that was a mistake. So there was some mistakes. Somehow, some way, Ghazi they quoted me two different ways. So the hardware came in wrong. And luckily we already had a guy picking up stuff from CRL. So we were able to pivot and get that taken care of. But then come to find out, like the day before we were installing, I wanted to test the glass. So I got the Ghazi controller out and I called the guy with M3 and he started telling me, you hook the wires up to this, this, and this. Well, it didn't seem to be corresponding with what I was looking at. And I thought, He said, well, send me a picture. You might have the wrong controller. And sure enough, they had a controller that had like 50 wires coming out of it. And come to find out, it was a real expensive controller. And it's for glass that has like what Tim's talking about, the blinds or something. It does a lot more than just on and off.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so they wanted to do a pickup on that and overnight a new one.
Wow.
So yeah, there were some hoops.
We also got the glass delivery a little bit unexpectedly. We don't have a forklift, so that was a fun time as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what, it came in a crate probably, huh? Crated up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
So
Good times.
that was our excitement.
Yeah. That's fun. Well, I'll tell you something that I've noticed. Maybe you've noticed this too. So if you're using Showers Online, like I use Showers Online, so you know how it is for like, oh man, this is the thing about this is the problem with Showers Online rather than some other brand is that it's like CRL specific, right? So I'm designing a shower and they want a certain finish, right? But at CRL, everything's not available in every finish. And this is not just CRL. Other companies are the same way. You can't get every product, every hinge, every handle, every clip in every finish, right? So I'm using it, so I'm like, oh, okay, well, I can't get that handle in that finish. So what handle can I get in that? Okay, I can get this handle. Okay, I can't get that clip in that finish. So what clip can I get? Okay, so all right, I can get that clip. So all right, finally I cobbled together a shower enclosure because it's kind of a special thing or whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. There, I've got all the parts. This one doesn't come in matte black, but it comes in oil rub bronze. So that's close enough. No one will ever know the difference. Get it all done, order it up, order the hardware. I get this call. Oh, CRL has discontinued that part in that finish.
That's right. Is that the open face clamp?
This particular, well, like there's been a couple of things. One was for this wonderful arched steam shower enclosure that I'm working on.
Oh boy.
These operable, the Cardiff operable transom pivots.
Yeah.
Sure.
So the enclosure is all in brass, right? We started out with like trying to do unlacquered brass because that's what they wanted originally, but it's like forget it. It's impossible. You're not going to get half the parts in unlacquered brass. So they're like, okay, regular polished brass. this is okay. So we're going with that. So yeah, they had Sierra Showers Online showed that that was an option in brass, those parts. So after like, finalizing it, invoicing it, oh yeah, those aren't available anymore. They discontinued them. I get them in brushed nickel. Oh yeah, well let's
Yeah.
just do that. Right?
No.
So fortunately, these people are like really nice, and they're like, "Well, what if we just make it non-operable?" It's like, "Oh man, if you're willing to do that, we can do something." So,
Oh, yeah.
but anyway, so then I'm on another thing, and it was just a towel bar. They wanted a towel bar. They had it was a neo angle, the one middle panel, the door's hinging off the wall. The middle panel is only like about 16 inches wide. They wanted a towel bar. So it's like there's a 12-inch towel bar. So, I find one, okay, yeah, that'll work. They get the same call. Oh, yeah, they've discontinued that. They don't make that finish anymore.
Oh.
And get it in brushed nickel.
Yeah, nobody wants it. I don't know.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're a company that sells hardware and like you've got like this software to sell your hardware, and that like you've discontinued something, I mean, why not just update the software so that, guys like me, maybe not the sharpest guy around, right? Won't like accidentally like, specify a part that doesn't exist.
Hey, speaking of hardware, do you guys know of anybody that manufactures a brushed stainless finish? I'm looking for glass to wall clamps. It's just a fixed shower screen. I've been on portals. I've been everywhere. And even though I think it's a perfect match with the FHC brushed nickel, this particular customer says that she sees a hint of brown in it, but she wants brushed stainless. I just haven't had any luck finding anything.
Brushed stainless.
I recently ordered some samples and stuff from a company. I think they're in Canada, called Kartners, Kartners. They don't have a lot of different parts as far as hardware goes, but they have quite the plethora of finishes that they can do. And if I do recall, brushed stainless was one of the finishes that they offered.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but they just have I mean, it's basic. Some of their handles are pretty nice. Their handles are pretty fancy. That was how I had heard about them. I had a customer that wanted to use their own handles, and they happened to be from this particular supplier. So I reached out to them to see, what other kind of stuff they had, and they have basic hinges, wall mount hinges. I think they have a glass to glass 180 hinge, some clamps, and handles, but they do have some pretty nice finishes, and they do, they can kind of, if need be, they can custom match a finish if you needed them to. So might be worth looking into.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, thanks, man. That's great.
Definitely. Let's put that in the chat here.
Yeah.
Are you looking at it, Christina?
Yeah.
Now, do they have decent quality hinges, do you think?
I think the handles felt solid. I mean, they were like 10-pound handles. I mean, they felt beefy.
Heavy.
As far as the hinges and clamps, I don't know yet. I haven't put my hands on them. So I couldn't say for sure, but I do intend to give them a try, just to kind of check them out and kind of get a practical, experience with them. But
yeah, I want to find out more. Now, one thing I've noticed and Christina brought to my attention, and it blows me away. Sarah Lawrence has discontinued open-faced corner clamp. No, Christina? Uh-oh.
Different. You're thinking of someone else, something different.
Oh, Never mind.
But back, based on Cartner's, we have installed one of these handles before, actually, because it was one from a homeowner supplied, and it was a knurled handle. So if anybody asks for knurled, Cartner's have.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what this guy had.
Good tip,
Yeah.
because you can't get anybody to match hardware anymore. It's like Ciro used to do that. No, they're not. At this time, they're not doing it.
Well, that was Sierra Lawrence's strong suit, is that they had so much product. It's so many finishes. And, you know, it's like the bean counters are, you know, counting beans. And if something's not moving, they're getting rid of it, you know. And well, you know, that's kind of unfortunate because I like to have that availability.
Right. And the thing is, I mean, you have to have everything in that finish. I mean, the finish is really kind of useless unless you can get the parts, you know, batching parts, you know, and they'd have like, you know, I had that whole book of like swatches, you know, of different hardware finishes, but it's like, then you start hunting for parts in those finishes. They're few and far between. You get like one handle and one clamp or something. It's like, yeah, can't really build a shower enclosure out of that.
No.
And it's worth noting, I think, too, I don't know if anybody's asked or seen or tried to procure the new finishes, but I think they're only available in the heavy duty hinge, but none of the standard duty.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we use most, you know, as a standard duty. I mean,
and the
try
headers
to. Oh, yeah, right.
And what I've found is anyone who's using like rose gold or gunmetal or something like that probably has a gigantic wet room shower because they've gone super custom with every single thing. And for one reason or another, they're going to need a header, and they just don't have that in rose gold or anything else yet.
Now, has anybody, this might be a different topic, but we're looking at gasket options, and there's one it looks like a composite. It's black, but it looks more like a composite. And I remember at one of the shows, the reps from Dreamline gave me some samples and said these things work great. And I never tested them. And of course, if you put them in somebody's house, you don't really know unless you just don't get a call back. But, you know, but is anybody familiar or know what I'm talking about? It's kind of like a condensed fiber almost, but it's if people know what gaskets on car parts look like, sometimes they're kind of that black plasticky thing is real hard and stiff. That's what these kind of look like, but thicker.
And what hinges are they for, or do they make them for a variety of hinge types?
I've seen these as an option, and I just wanted to find out if anybody has seen them.
The only place I've ever seen that gasket that you're describing is C.R. Lawrence offers them with some of their concealed hardware hinges, the Bellagios and the Comos and stuff. I think all those hinge types come with that type of gasket, that like fiber. It's a stiffer gasket. Like it doesn't have much compression. They package those in with those hinges. That's the only time I've ever used them or seen them.
Okay.
Has anybody ever done an Essence?
Oh, that's right. Essence have them too. Yeah, right.
Essence.
We've done that.
So that's the kind of gaskets they have. Kind of like that, it's like almost like fiberglass or carbon
Mhm.
fiber or something,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Is it like that? That's kind of what you're talking about?
I don't remember the gaskets on an Essence, to be honest
Yeah.
with you, but yeah, I'm sure that's probably the same thing.
Yeah, they're
It's almost like the
stiff.
gasket that would come with patch hardware, similar
Yeah.
to that type of gasket.
Yeah, well, yeah, some of those are like hard plastic.
Yeah, that's kind of what I am envisioning your description.
Mhm. Yeah,
It
well,
sounds like that's
it's not plastic though. Okay.
It's almost
Well,
like fire. Reminds me of fiberglass.
mhm.
It's like really stiff. It like Brian's saying, it doesn't compress really at all.
Right. No, you're right. Doesn't compress.
But it doesn't move either. You know, I mean, like once you lock it down, it's like it stays put. It's probably a lot more
Mhm.
expensive than that cheap rubber stuff that they use, but it sure works good. So
Okay.
you were saying like Dreamline makes those like to fit other people's or like the standard
Well,
hinge
yeah,
cutout?
because Dreamline has some of their own hinges that are just like a Pinnacle or Geneva, and
Okay.
so they're interchangeable. Yeah. So I was just wondering if anybody's experienced those. That's all. I remember seeing them also. I think I don't know if it was like the Grande or something like that. Those are some old hinges Sierra Lawrence used to have. I don't know if anybody ever used those,
I
but
remember seeing them. I don't think I ever used them.
yeah, I used them on handicap with doors because way back when we didn't have the real super heavy duty hinges. You had to go to something like that, which they worked well. So,
I
and I
guess
just did a patch hardware, by the way, and it was the Bola, and a lot of people have talked about how good those are. They are very good.
hmm that's all we
I do
use.
like those. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
ask
Oh, go
gasket?
ahead.
Sorry, Chris, just
No, go
real quick,
ahead.
we're on the topic of gaskets. We love portals hinges, and I wonder, um, when we use CRL hinges or other hinges that have like black gaskets, we have a lot more slippage. But I don't know if that's because of the gasket or if that has more to do with the clear gasket portals is using being inset into the plate. Does anyone have a strong opinion on that? You know, gasket material and being inset into the plate, what's causing portals to be so much more premium than CRL?
Good question.
I can say that anytime we use portals primarily for all our showers, unless it's a finish thing, right? If we need a finish that they don't have, in which case we'll go to FHC. But anytime I go to FHC, I always switch out to the clear gaskets. And we don't have any issues with door slippage. So I don't know. I mean, I think the clear gaskets is part of it. I think maybe the way we set our hinges in the cutout probably has something to do with it as well. I would imagine that portal's gasket being inset into the hinge certainly helps. But I think the clear gasket in and of itself, I think, is helpful. That's my 2 cents.
I would agree. We've switched over to using all clear gaskets too, but they're not inset. So I have gone back and adjusted some with clear gaskets, so I can't say that it's the end all be all using clear gaskets. But I think the inset with clear gaskets is probably much more of a premium. So, but the clear gaskets do help. We have less slippage with clear gaskets versus the black ones. We toss those and use clear ones now.
Which brand?
Just CRLs. We just order like a whole box of them, and we just keep a whole box in stock and send them out with the guys whenever we send them out. So.
Okay. It seems like there's two different kinds of clear gaskets. And it seems like one's more pliable and one's stiffer. And I think the one that's stiffer is more like a polypropylene type
I've
material.
got some in my truck if you want me to go grab them real quick.
You've got 3 minutes.
Let me go find out what the hell
Run,
it is.
Daniel.
Can you
Run,
do
Let me
it?
go
Daniel.
find out
Run.
what it is we use.
Run.
Uh,
What a guy.
That's dedication there, man.
Did any of you guys see that post? I'm pretty sure it was in the Shower Door Professionals of somebody had posted that it's like an old mechanic, an automotive mechanic trick that they spray like hairspray, like Aquanet or something, on
Oh,
one of the gaskets for something that they do in the automotive industry. And I looked it up. I thought the guy was like bullshitting, but I looked it up. I'm like, son of a bitch, they actually do that for this application. So
yeah.
he says he sprays his hinges with hairspray and it makes it tacky and they stick. And I'm like, I don't know. We got away from the hinges and pivots and stuff, but I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of strange.
Wow. It's lacquer.
wow.
It's lacquer.
Hairspray, yeah. So we
Aquanet is, it's the worst.
I just saw, it was like a comment, just like on one of the posts. Like I said, I don't remember if it was in the Shower Door group or another glazing group, but and I looked it up, and I guess it's some kind of automotive thing that's where he came from, and he did it on and they've been doing it on Shower Door stuff.
All right.
Kind
I
of like
Well,
super. Oh,
Yep.
That's interesting. I want to know more about that, by the way. I mean, because
Show us that
there
again,
could be
Dan.
something to that. What's the chemical in hairspray that makes it tacky? You know?
some type of adhesive glue.
Okay, Daniel, here's your big chance. Let's see those.
The part number is just the V1E4 GK clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
those are the CRL ones.
Mhm. So I don't know what the hell they're made of, but that's what we're swapping them out to.
Does it like it bends real easy though, right?
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. Yes and no, I guess. I don't know. It bends. It's not stiff like the patch hinges that you guys were talking about before.
Yeah, but it's not soft either, like the.
No, it's not soft by any. There's not much compression at all to it. Like, I mean, I could probably bend a lot of things, that gasket's pretty flimsy to begin with, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Looks
It's
like the one they
tacky.
use on their, looks like the ones they use on the P190s. The clamps, the same material.
Right. Exactly.
The P190.
Yeah, right, that right?
What's the P190?
Maybe I said the wrong number. It's the
PPH?
huh?
The PPH 01s?
No.
I think you talk about the wall brackets that you
Yeah,
mount
wall
like
bracket.
the wall
Heavy
bracket.
duty wall clamp. Yeah.
It's a heavy duty
Oh.
wall clamp. You
Yeah.
when you're using the glass to glass hinges or something like that.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
come, I think, standard with the clear gaskets.
Yep.
Those are more flexible, it seems like, than these, but the half
I don't
inch
know. I
ones
think
are
it's the
really
same
flexible.
material.
I think it's the
Daniel.
same thing, yeah, because it's just
Yeah.
the thickness of it. Typically, you're using half-inch glass, so the thinner gaskets are going to be more flimsy.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's the same material they make those out
I think
of.
so.
And it definitely does make a difference.
It makes a
as far as, like,
difference.
slippage.
But we have gone back to adjust them. We were hoping that it would solve a lot of the problems, but I've gone back to clear gasket swaps.
Gotta
So
get portals. Just gotta buy them from portals. That's all. They're the best. Let's face it.
Yeah, they are.
All right, everybody. Thanks for showing up. It's been great talking to you.
All right.
And
Good night.
Good night,
Good night.
everybody. Have a
Hey,
good
guys.
week.
See you. Bye.